got comedian DJ Hans Kim finally in. What's going on, man? You are blowing up.
Not much. I'm just living life, enjoying it, and taking one day at a time.
And you have, 9 shows in Florida? 8 shows?
Yeah. I'm doing 5 shows this weekend that aren't on the poster, but I'm opening up for Michael Yo, and it's been an amazing time. We've been getting along, and I'm really enjoying the time getting to know him. His comedy style is different from mine, so his audience is different, so I'm just getting used to, his audience.
So when you go with Michael O, so explain the dynamic of how different the two of you are.
Well, Michael is a friendly guy. He's a guy who life has blessed him with a beautiful face and body. And the ladies, they do not act shy around him. And then me, I'm sort of like the grungy little gremlin in the shadows, just like saying snide little remarks. So it's just been a little bit different, but I love it. I love that it adds another wrinkle because I'm so used to whatever I'm getting in Texas. So I think it's great to come here to Miami where people are a little more, like happy-go-lucky, and they're blessed with beautiful physiques.
Well, it's always nice here. So you always get the sun. Plus you have, South Beach, everything else. I mean, what more could you really want? And it's laid back. As you've seen, nobody really cares about shit.
Yeah.
They just do their own thing and don't mind. They're not, like here particularly, South Florida, people kind of mind their business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Texas is.
Yeah, because someone could be a coke dealer. You don't want to be too nosy and get shot.
Yeah. Well, nowadays you never know, right?
Yeah.
So you got what? You got Naples on the 12th and 13th. Then you got Tampa at the
With
Improv,
Tony.
right?
Yeah. I'm one of the openers for Tony. William and I will be there. I don't know if that's known, but now it is. When does this come out?
It'll probably come out Monday.
Okay, yeah. So that week, Tony and I will be, and William will be in Tampa. A majority of the Kill Tony crew doing stand-up, which is different from Kill Tony. But yeah, if you loved Kill Tony, that'll be a great experience for sure.
Yeah, I'll be a lineup, right?
Yeah.
Because there's Tony Hinchcliffe. Who else?
William and then me.
Oh, William too.
Or not and then me, but and me.
Yeah, cool. When I was going through everything, do you have autism or are you on like the cuff of autism?
Yeah, I'm just Asian.
Oh, you really?
That
was a fucking joke?
Yeah.
Oh, he had me. I was like, oh shit. I was like, wow, this is really, wow. You fucking had me. Pull that Twitter up.
I'm not that autistic.
But if you didn't know,
yeah.
And when I watched the Twitter, I said to Tyler, I go, oh man, he's got autism. I just donated a bunch of shit to autism. Play this guy. I mean, this is believable to anybody.
The diagnosis.
Yeah.
On the spectrum, ever been diagnosed or talked to a doctor about it? What the fuck? You think I would go to the society that has churned and burned so many people and be like, please fix me, let me be more something that you approve of? Fuck these people. They don't know what the fuck to do with people. They'll just drug me up.
Isn't that the truth,
put me in a
right?
cubicle.
Yeah.
Do not trust.
This is where Epstein was.
People who have produced the most mental health illnesses in the world to fix your mental health. There's more mental health issues now because people are poor. If people are poor, it doesn't matter how many fucking pills you shove in their asshole.
All right.
Hans, are you actually on the spectrum? Ever been diagnosed or talked to a doctor about it?
Twitter videos.
So what did you just say?
That's where Epstein was. He was like hiring like low income women or girls to give him a massage, and if like there's like a poverty in a community, then people are vulnerable, people are easily bought. So mental health or autism, I think if you want to make people resilient to predators like Epstein, you gotta make sure that they're not vulnerable to payouts and getting bribed into doing
sick shit.
Yeah.
Because, when you go to the doctor, you know what they're going to do, even though it was kind of a joke, but that's what they do. You go to the doctor, he's going to say, here's these pills. He's probably getting a kickback from Big Pharma for whatever pill he gives you that he knows isn't going to work. So then he gives you another one and another one with 1,000 side effects. And in that list of side effects is suicide, fucking, going off crazy and shooting somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like a lot of the mass shooters were on drug or whatever drug.
psychedelic drugs that.
Or psychotropic or
Yeah.
they
And
were
the
on
commercials.
antidepressants.
Yeah. The fucking commercials. The side effects are longer than the commercial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, were you born in South Korea or were you born here?
No, I was born in New Jersey.
Oh, boy. New Jersey, huh?
Yeah.
By you. Where were you at from in Jersey?
I'm not from Jersey, but I lived in North Jersey for 20 years. Paramus area,
Okay.
Bergen County.
Right. I was in New Brunswick till I was 7.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I moved back to New York when I was like 25, 28.
Now, when you're, let's say, like when you're a teenager, are you thinking about comedy or being a DJ or anything?
No.
Like, what was your ambition?
I read The Game by Neil Strauss.
Yeah.
And he said, I tried stand-up comedy. Everyone should try stand-up comedy once. And I was like, that seems unnecessary. That seems a lot to do to yourself, to put yourself out there. Like, yeah, that's way, like, that seems extreme. That seems unhealthy. But now I do it for a living every day.
So at that time, what were you thinking? Like, you're 16, 17, and somebody, you want to be something. What are you striving to be, or where do you hope to end up?
I don't even remember. It wasn't comedy. It wasn't sports because I kind of knew what I looked like, what I was shaped like. I don't remember what I think I just wanted to be like an act. I think what I wanted to be was on Disney Channel. I think every kid wants to be on Disney Channel.
Well, if you make it to the Disney Channel, you're probably going to be rich eventually, right?
Someone's going to fuck you too.
Somebody's going to fuck you too. Hopefully a girl, right?
Yeah.
Or a hot one, maybe.
Hopefully not at Harvey Weinstein or something.
Yeah, but I don't know. It depends on how much, maybe.
Yeah.
How much would it take for Harvey
For
Weinstein
me to have sex
to give you
with
a
Harvey?
$100 million deal on a documentary?
100. Like anal penetration.
Yeah.
10
million.
I don't know the ins and outs, but I mean, gay guys seem pretty happy. It doesn't seem like their assholes are too busted out from one go. It's probably not that big a deal. It's probably more a mental thing. I would have to say like at least not 5,000. 5,000 is too low. I can make 5,000. I can just work harder.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It needs to be an amount of money like I can't work for.
Right.
So probably like I don't want to sell myself like I'm like some hot piece.
Don't
of
answer
ass.
it because the guys you hang out with, the next thing you know, you'll be doing it on stage. So skip by.
Yeah, they have no chill.
So when you're growing up, you're not even thinking about this. You're reading that book and you're like, this sounds crazy.
Yeah.
So what are some shit jobs that you had prior to saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna do?
I did the burger thing. I did the Subway. I did Quiznos. I was an intern at a roller conveyor company. They make the roller conveyors that make solar panels and glass. And I was like a mechanical engineer. I just graduated. I was an intern, and they just didn't give me any work just because they could sense my vibe. They were just sort of like, this guy's not serious. And then the intern after me had a bunch of work. So I was just sitting there browsing Reddit, positioning my computer in a way where it's hard to see what I was doing, just goofing off. Just working in an office, just collecting minimum wage because I was an intern. But that was like a job. They just sniffed me out. They were like, we're not giving this guy anything. Like, they didn't even give me a chance. And then I worked at a medical device startup company for my mechanical engineering degree. I was just making things in 3D space.
That sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What'd they have you make?
Surgical tools for laparoscopic surgery for the rotator cuff.
Oh.
So you just make a little hole, put in little tools, and fix it, and come out. So you don't have to like tear open the whole thing. And so they had like little loops that you could stick a thing in and then pull it out, and like all inside the shoulder with one little hole instead of. So I was making like the tools for that.
Wow, that's fucking. And then they ended up using it, or they use it today if they don't have to go all the way in. I don't know if it's particularly the one that you did in 3D, but we'll just say that
I made a grommet. Yeah, I don't know what they did with it. They just fucking had me do it.
They're using it. Hands, they're using it. You made it. They're using it. This episode is brought to you by Fiji. More than just water.
This is not just rock. It's ancient volcanic rock that filters tropical rain, giving it double the electrolytes and its signature soft, smooth taste. It's not just water, it's Fiji water.
Again, that's FijiWater.com/MSCS, $5 off and free shipping. This episode is brought to you by Let's Get Checked. I want to talk to you guys out there who are working out all the time but aren't seeing any results. Your commitment isn't the issue. You're going to the gym all the time, different body parts, everything else. Before you go and buy a new supplement, try a new diet, new routine, let's talk about your testosterone. Low testosterone can affect anyone at any age. And low testosterone will take away muscle mass and you'll gain body fat. So let's talk about today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked. They're the worldwide leader at home testing kits. You order the testing kit, it's delivered right to your house, discreet packaging, next day delivery. You send it back. Once it arrives in the laboratory, your results will be available in 2 to 5 days on your secure online account. So if you want to test your testosterone levels without leaving your home, visit trylgc.com/MSCS and use the code MSCS at checkout and get 30% off. The link is in the description at the top.
I sell myself. Well, that's not my specialty. I was pretty bad at the job. I got fired in 6 months. Really wasn't my passion. I wasn't a very good mechanical engineer. I wanted to do something more. It felt like grunt work. It felt like not that creative and not that human. Like I wanted to do something more that, only I could do. Like only I can tell my jokes in the way that I tell it. So I feel more valued than like if my job is to make, here's a picture of this, make it in a 3D computer model. It's like anyone can do that really. So I just, I really wasn't good at it. I got a 2.6 GPA in college. That was not my specialty.
At least you went.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I graduated.
Yeah, you graduated too.
I got suspended for shoplifting one semester.
What did you steal?
Just like a
I was
bunch of
something
shit.
cool.
In Target, I went to Target, just started stuffing my bag full of shit. And then I'd stolen from that Target before, so they stopped me at the door. They're like, "Excuse me, sir, can you come with me?" And I was like, "Actually, I'd rather not." And then the police officer grabbed me by my neck and come with me. And then I started digging in my pocket, and it was like, "Get your hands out your pocket." And then he's like, "What? You got a knife? You got a little blade in here. If I cut myself, I'll punch you in the face." And
At Target?
Yeah, it's
Holy
a police officer. And then I took my glasses off, and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna punch me in the face?" Took my glasses off, and that kind of broke the tension. It was like, "Oh, this guy's just a nerd trying to steal."
A nerd goof. Did they let you go then?
Yeah. Oh no, they charged me, but then I hired a lawyer, Jason Sheffield, the guy that's defending Travis and McMichaels in Georgia, the guy that shot Ahmaud Arbery.
Oh yeah.
He's their defense attorney, and he was my defense attorney.
That's crazy. That's a little crazy, Hans.
Before he was defending George McMichael, he was defending me for
Hans
shoplifting.
for shoplifting. Now he's doing this.
If you did something wrong, that's the guy. And he just got me off with community service, pretrial diversion in Fulton County, Georgia, Atlanta.
In Georgia, too.
Yeah.
That's not a place you really want to go to court, I don't think.
Yeah.
Especially where you just mentioned.
Yeah.
That's one of those places. That's another place that you avoid. Some places there. Yeah, you just don't go to that town.
Atlanta.
Yeah. There's somewhere right outside of Atlanta that it's like the Wild Wild West, like cop-wise, but they'll just bury you.
Yeah.
And you just got to respect them. Go the fucking speed limit and don't piss them off.
Yeah. I mean, that's not ideal. I wish it was better, but.
So now when you're doing the solar panel thing and you realize, like, you don't want to be a robot, basically. You want to be creative. You don't want somebody to say, "Here, Hans, go do this." And, some people are okay with that. Some people like to be given structure and they know that it's their 9 to 5 and this is what I have to do. They like to be told what to do. You don't like that. You don't like the robot shit. You like the independent, make it on your own thing. So when you leave, when you're done with the intern, you graduate college, at that point, where are you at with comedy? Or are you even thinking about comedy when you graduate?
Yeah, I was sort of interested. I was checking out comedy places in Chattanooga, and I was like, I could do it here. I hadn't done it, though. I would listen to Joe Rogan. That's where I got the inspiration from. He was my male role model in terms of life. Like, here's a guy that made it in life doing exactly what he wanted to do. And he just sort of laid down a blueprint for how to do what you want and succeed in life on your own terms instead of just doing what you're told. So he said open mics, comedy. He laid out the structure and the plan of it, and it's a meritocracy, and it's you get in what you get, you get out what you put in. So if you put more work in, you'll be more successful. And it's like, I have energy, I have the ability to work hard, so I'm not going to invest my time in a corporation that will fire me as soon as they find an Indian that can do it cheap. No offense to Indians, but I'm investing in myself. I might not be making money, but I'm interning for myself, and I'm accruing all the benefits to me, instead of some company that's like, oh, you've been working here 10 years, here's like a little plaque. That's
I love it.
Yeah,
I love that thought process, because right now, like you said, you're just breaking even or whatever, but you're grinding to your goal, because eventually you won't be breaking even anymore if you keep at it. I mean, look how far you've come. 6 months ago when I text you, you're in a van.
Yeah.
Now look at you.
Yeah.
What about another year with that grind? Because the way I've seen your work ethic, and not, you saying it, actions show it, right? And the way you've grown in the last 8 months, you're putting the work in while other people aren't. And that's why you're coming up. So as the ones that aren't working like you, as they're falling off, you're just building your way in.
Yeah. I mean, I think people say millennials don't want to work. We just don't want to work for a system that we don't find that will treat us fairly. If there was a system that treated us fairly, then we would work hard. And I think that's what comedy was for me, and I found it through Joe. He taught me that there was like an avenue. Like, it's not 100%. I mean, comedy is still a gamble. It's a show business, and we all know how like fickle that is. But we just need a rough estimate of fairness, and we'll work hard. We just don't want to work hard for a corporation that's been shown. Like, look at Detroit, they just left.
Yeah,
there's no loyalty. So I just wanted something fair and something that would reward my hard work, and I just found an avenue, and I worked hard at it. And I'm there's like not a lack of people willing to work hard. We just need the right setup for that. So yeah, I think I really strived in that scenario because I knew that hard work would pay off, because Joe Rogan did it, and he really inspired me. He's like, this is a good avenue to put your energy in. Like, I needed a safe place to work hard at. I didn't want to just work hard at something that might not pay off, because then that hard work would be wasted. And like, so many people, like the janitors, work hard and then they're not rewarded.
It's always 50-50. Whenever you're working for somebody else, every day of your life has got to be 50-50, and especially in a time like right now, right? So before you even met Joe, you had gotten, say, a bunch of clips, and that was kind of your blueprint. Then you decided, okay, I'm going to take the plunge, which is kind of a nutty plunge because it's so saturated. Like, the competition in comedy, I mean, I don't know. I would think it's as hard to be a stand-up comedian and do, big, stadiums and tours, arenas, shit like that. That's got to be harder than getting in the NFL or NBA or whatever, I would think. I mean, when you sit down, you can only name, like me personally, like active, I can name maybe 10, 15 comics, right? If you say football, basketball, whatever, you can name 50 different players.
Yeah.
So I think that's a tough, and then you're Korean on top of that.
Yeah. Which
so, I mean,
is
that's a
bad
risky
and
part.
good.
Yeah. So did that work in your favor, or did that work negatively? Because that could go either way, right?
I didn't really think it played a part in it, but that might just be what I tell myself to keep doing it. Like, there's like what's actually true and what I tell myself to motivate myself. And as a person that's living the life right now, the two is very mixed. I don't really know what is true and what I'm just telling myself so that I can be successful. But it really is not important to me. I mean, that's for the audience to decide. But yeah, I don't really think being Korean hurt me. When I go out to shows that I sell with me as a headliner, I don't really see a lot of Koreans out there. I think people just come to see me for me, and there's not a racial component to it yet, which I would love to. I love Korean people, and I'd love to, sell to that audience. But yeah, I don't really think it hurt me. I don't think it helped me. I think like white people like to see white people, Asian people like to see Asian people. But the fact that I can get white people, mostly white people, white dudes, to come out is great. You know,
I think it makes you more interesting because you look and you see this South Korean guy, and you go, he's a comedian, what? And it makes you want to go see or watch it or listen to it. So I think it
right.
extremely helps.
There's the familiarity
from the outside
versus novelty.
Yeah. Now, when you started doing the stand-up, what was it with? Why was South Korea so into the Squid Games or whatever? And they kept asking you about them, or they would always refer to the Squid Games to you or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
On Kill Tony?
Yeah, like they always would like you were always getting asked about like the Squid Game. Like, why is that so popular in South Korea?
I think it's more popular here in America than it was in South Korea.
I just saw it blowing up in South Korea, and that's why I asked you, like, why that would be such a big thing.
I think it makes sense to us. That's kind of how we feel. It's an exaggerated version of how we feel, but at least they're suffering on camera, on TV for someone's benefit. But so much of the suffering that goes on in our economy is for no one's benefit. It's just we are going through these human struggles of trying to make ends meet, and like nobody's watching, nobody cares. And it's just like, well, here, at least somebody's watching. At least there's a purpose to the suffering, the economic suffering that these people are going through. And I think it makes us be like, oh, like we are going through these momentous human trials and nobody's even watching. Like, what is the point of this? And I think it brought like some sort of meaning and some sort of like, you know, conspiracy-minded sort of rationale for what some people feel and like what they feel like is going on in their lives. But yeah, I think that it was I mean, a lot of Korean movies like are like that now, like Parasite. It's about a rich family and a poor family swindles them, and then they're just going through. It's like about wealth and equality and all that. I think Koreans feel that. I mean, they lived under a military dictatorship. They have a very big protest culture.
So it's very relatable to the way it is over there.
Yeah.
How do you have family over there now?
Yeah.
So what is it like over there now? Like as of today, 2022. I mean, how bad is it?
Well, I don't know that well, but I do know that kids go to school and then afterwards they go to Hagwon Academy, which is like after school programs, and then they go home at like 9 p.m. Their whole day is just school, then Hagwon, and then sleep. And then they just do that like there's no time for life. There's no time for making friends and, you know, biking down to the creek and seeing a dead body. You know, it's all like structured.
It's all fucking crazy. Well, maybe that's why they don't let you go anywhere, so you don't get on the bike and ride down and a 40-year-old sees a dead body, right? I mean, maybe there's some reason behind it. Now, over there, is it like you know, like in Cuba, like if you want to open up a business, like the government has to say, okay, communist. Are they communist over there?
No, South Korea is, you know, pretty neoliberal. I mean, like the working class has been pretty much kowtowed and, you know, it's pretty capitalistic. Yeah, they're very, very aligned with America. And yeah, they're on board with that. You know, they work like 60 hours a week. There's like a lot of suicides. They sleep in their office.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least they're working.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beating here.
Yeah, they're willing to work hard.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, come on over. Open the border for South Korea so that, you know, not this other shit. Not the fentanyl people, the workers. You got it wrong, buddy.
Yeah.
So now, how did you get in with Kill Tony and Tony Hinchcliffe? How did
I just signed up.
What do you mean you just signed up?
I just went, put my name in the bucket, got up a couple times, 2 or 3 times, and then Tony got canceled for saying things about Asian people or saying things to an Asian person. And then he was like, "You're Asian. When I come back from being canceled, do you want to," you know, it was like, because he got canceled for being racist to Asians and I was Asian. So that it helped in that respect. And then it was just like I sang the national anthem and it just took off from there. I just happened to be Asian at the right time.
And then that's how. And then you were with them, what, 8 months? You were on Kill Tony and Stool, and you would do what, a minute a week?
Yeah.
And then you just go up a minute a week and rip for a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think is so important about Kill Tony? To me, as an outsider for a comedy, it keeps it going. It gives comedians an opportunity to practice material, to see if they have it. And when I watch it, I think, well, right now you're going to be able to tell if this guy can handle it. You know, because if you get that minute and you crush or you bomb, are you going to come back?
Yeah.
And the people you see coming back over and over and over are the people you know are serious, right?
Yeah.
So from an outsider, the most important thing I think is it gives comedy an opportunity to continue to expand because nobody else is helping you guys.
Yeah, it's a ladder. You know, it helps us get to the next level, the next echelon. And it also informs you what a real audience is into. When you're doing comedy open mics, you're just performing for comedians. You don't get a real clear picture of what it's all about. And then you go up on Kill Tony and you're like doing your super alty left-wing jokes and you're like, oh, they don't give a fuck. This is not the real world. And then you have to adapt to that audience. You know in your head. Even if you don't go up, you're always thinking about it like, oh, would this work on Kill Tony? So it sort of informs the scene to what a real audience and what a real crowd would like. So
It preps you for the future if you continue with it, right?
Yeah.
How much do you think that helped your career and your expanding?
Oh, I used to watch Kill Tony all the time. I think it was a great experience just to like tell me like, oh, this is what a real audience would like, and just in the back of my mind to put that in there. But yeah, and then I moved to Austin and started doing it in person, so that was awesome. But yeah, I think it helped a lot.
And before you moved to Austin and started doing it like you are now, what's some advice you got from Tony? And then when you met Rogan, what's some advice they gave you as you're heading into, you know, that looks like a pretty big crowd there, buddy. When you're, you know, moving toward that situation, what's some advice that you were given from these monsters?
I mean, they're very hands off almost. It's like we're independent contractors. Before the show, like they're just telling me, you got this, I believe in you, and you know, I can't tell you how to be you, but just have confidence in what you are. And that's what I love about Kill Tony. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't try to be like the last guy that did well. You should be a better version of yourself.
Just continue to be you, because that's what got you to the point where you're at.
Yeah.
Now, is there a specific routine you have before, say like that one there, when you're on stage with a gazillion people? Is there a routine that you have the day before, or you just say fuck it and just do what you always did, whether, you know, when there was 50 people and now there's 5,000, nothing's changed?
Well, I'm always mindful of I try to keep it the same. You don't want to be too different, but I try not to like be too negative. You know, I try not to be too positive. I just try to be real, and you know, I try not to do anything different. I try to just fucking just be myself, whatever that means. Just do whatever comes easiest to me, you know, just be comfortable and be happy. And you know, I don't have to be extremely happy. I don't have to like do like a bunch of cocaine and fuck a bunch of hookers. I can just like, you know, be happy in my level, and then things will just, you know, progress from there. I don't try to be anything that I'm not. There's very low like I don't try to do anything. That's the one thing that I do pre-show, is just I don't try to go out of my way to help myself. I'm just like, this is just go through your normal life, and that's the preparation. That way there's no pressure.
So you found a way to make it where you're able to block out the crowd, block out everything, where it's just you being you, and you're going out and doing another gig like you've done 17,000 other times.
Well, there's a little bit of that where I'm just like this. I'm just doing comedy. I'm just telling jokes. I'm just talking to people. I'm connecting with people. That's what I've done for the last 9 years. But then I also want to let them in. I don't want to just completely shut them out, because then it's not a fun experience for them or me. I want to be there in the moment. Like, this is crazy. Like, we're here. There's 17,000, 19,000 people. I want to be in that moment. Like, if I'm not here for this moment, then what moment would I be present for?
You want to feel the charisma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's an awesome way to look at it. How do you write your jokes? Do you write them? Like, are you writing every day? Do you talk into a recorder? How do you do your jokes?
I just do like this stuff, like right now, there could be a joke somewhere in here. But yeah, I just live my life and then write it down. Sometimes I write 2,000 words a day, and just diarrhea out my mouth or my brain, and just write it down. Whatever's in my head, just get it out there. Practice getting my thoughts into text, and then the later on in the day, it's easier to get my thoughts into text because I did that. But yeah, just living life and finding the humor where anyone does it. The only difference is I write it down. So
you'll write. Let's say like it's a diary. It's almost like a diary. You'll write a diary every day, and then within that diary, you'll find something that happened in your life that's funny that you could take what you wrote down and turn it into a joke to then perform, and then you go test it. Right. That's how this whole process works. You go to wherever, a dive bar maybe, to test it, or maybe where everybody goes in Cali.
Comedy Store?
Yeah, the Comedy Store. I don't know if you want to test there, but
no.
Have you tested shit there before?
I've done an open mic there once.
How was that?
It was fun.
You didn't get crushed?
No. I mean, it's not really set. The open mic is like people are half paying attention. They're like,
oh, okay.
Oh, you're not. This isn't the real show. You're just faking it.
Oh, Dave was telling me the first time he went, they put him. Who the fuck did they put? He was over there. Ace. What's Ace's name?
Ace Ventura?
No, maybe not Ace. The comedian. He stopped for a while. I thought he was on
Dice Clay.
Dice Clay. Yeah. So I think when David went, Dice was right after him or right before him, whichever way it was.
Before him would be worse.
Whichever way he could get killed the most is the way it was set
him.
up. Yeah. So our friend, David Lucas, they put at the comedy, right? Hans will tell you. I don't know if you know from the past, but they'll put monsters right after you, or what they put them before you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And people get hammered. Have you ever gone there and seen somebody just get annihilated, but then, came back later all right?
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. People bomb all the time. One show doesn't really define you, but yeah, hopefully you can do better afterwards. But yeah, it's tough when people see like greatness and then they're like, wow, that was awesome. And then you go up there and they're like, well, that's not the same as the thing that we just saw.
And you kind of got to just grab your balls and be like, all right, well, one day I'll be that guy, and there's going to be somebody, that I'm going to make look like shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, with stand-up, you're going up there with everything. You're going up there with your looks, with your sound of your voice, and your reputation. So if someone has reputation, they have that to work with, and you might not have it, but that doesn't mean that you won't in the future. And that's just an aspect of your game that you don't have right now, which everyone doesn't have that at some point, unless you're a superstar that starts out comedy later. But yeah, there's no shame in not having that sort of part of your game worked out. So yeah, I mean it's all about perspective and how you handle your bombs.
Yeah.
Figuring it out.
Give me an example of one that you did before you started doing stuff like that. Maybe there's only 300 people, but I mean you just bombed. Like something funny where you just destroyed. Not in a good way. I mean like it was just terrible. Like maybe you forgot something or what. Give me an example of like a really bad situation you were in and how you handled it. I mean there's got to be a handful, dude.
Yeah, I
we
mean
all fuck up.
I bomb all the time. I take risks. I don't get laid a lot, so I could not get laid tonight. I'm an expert in not getting laid.
How much did the numbers go up though after this? After a couple of these shows, these big ones,
MGM?
Numbers had to have gone up after the MGM.
I mean, it happened a week ago.
Maybe it didn't settle in yet.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty recent. yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, I don't really need a lot of external, like, like followers or whatever. I do like that, but I try not to. But yeah, the experience in itself is a reward, and that gave me the sort of confidence that I needed to really progress.
That's fantastic. So now, take me through that day, because this is when you open for Rogan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that happen? So take me from A to Z. How do you, first off, who calls you to say, hey, do you want to open for Rogan? Then, yeah, I'll open for Rogan. Take me through the whole process until the day you do it, and then when you're on stage.
Well,
Because, I mean, that's a big deal.
That's the thing I love about...
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. That's the thing I love about Rogan is that it's very personal. We're friends before we are business we're not business partners, really. And he just told me, like, in person, like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, sure. So it's very personal. We're people. We're making human connections. We're talking like humans do. There's not like, oh, my agent will contact.
I hate that shit.
Yeah. So it's human. It's so much better that way. It's personal. It's meaningful. There's eye contact, and it's because of love and not because of, this will get me X dollars or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I can't help. Like, he doesn't give a shit about
yeah.
what I
It's
can
not like
bring
he
to
needs
it.
you, right?
I don't
doing it
know
out of
why
love.
he did that, but I'm glad that he did. And if he's willing to continue, bugging me, then, like, I'll let him.
I hate the whole agent thing. Even like, with this shit, now I just hate it, because you try to get somebody in, and then they got 17 agents, and then by the time you get to the actual agent that knows the guy, it's just a mess.
There's no agents. It's just him and I just talking, and I think that's awesome. Even him at his level, he doesn't respect and need that sort of management type of thing,
bullshit,
even though he has that. And people would die for that. People would love to be like, oh, I'll have my agent send you an email. Like,
that sounds so like
real
cheesy
shit.
And corny to me. I mean, I have to deal with it, but when I get that, I'm like, you can't just type back yourself and just like, I'll yes or no. But like with you guys, like David, it's for the last year we talk all the time. He's really, really a good friend of mine. But even Louis C.K., it's directly with him. There's no agent. It's him and I. It's me and
That's
David.
why comedians are so successful in podcasting.
Yeah.
All the best podcasters, a lot of them, the musicians aren't doing it. It's because comedians know that real interaction. They're in front of real people all the time. They treasure and respect that intimacy that comes with real connections. And I think that's something that a lot of other artists don't have access to. Actors are always, like auditions. They're like, oh, you're approved, you're not. But comedians, we don't get approved by an audition. We get approved by the audience laughing. So we know what it's like to have authentic, real interactions. And I think that's why comedians are more into like that sort of talking to each other.
Makes total sense. Because that's what you're doing all day long, even when you're practicing. Even if you're talking into the mirror, seeing how you look when you tell a joke. You're constantly interacting.
Yeah.
So now you get on that stage, right? Now just think about that time. What are you thinking because before, 50, 300 people, maybe 500? What are there, 5,000 people there?
Mm-hmm.
Now when you're there and that light's hitting you like that on top, I'd love to have that just one day shining down on me. Like, I'd brag to everybody. What does that feel like seeing all that? And then how long do you have up there?
15 minutes. Well, I feel like it's a chance to connect with people on a level that I haven't before. This is like what this is all about, is like connecting with people, and this is a giant opportunity to do that. And I just approach it like a normal, organic human interaction. Like there's an interaction between you and another person, you and a girl, you and 5 people when you're telling a story in a party. There's you and 50 people at a small comedy club. This is just another version of that, and to make it more organic and to connect with that audience like I've done with audiences before, and just treating it like an audience that I want to connect with. as much as possible. I think that's the best way to do it.
Did you fuck up at all, or was it a solid 15 minutes?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, I had a good time. You know, it's just, it's like, it is what it is. You know, it's organic. You know, it's, the label good or bad is like kind of, you know, a little black and white. But I think that overall it went well. But you know, the thing that I treasure most about it is the connection that I got with that audience at that moment. And anything else that I got out of it, some ego trip, you know, like, oh, fuck yeah, I fucking fucked the audience in the face, would be unhealthy.
Yeah.
So I just try to treasure like the real moments that I had with that audience. When I said something about women playing sports, how I don't think it's that good. Like, we all shared in that experience, and those are the kind of moments that I treasure, instead of like, you know, like, oh yeah, look at me, whoa, I'm still fucking being
Because you think like that, that's probably why you got that gig. Because because you think like that. Because you're not, like, you're sitting here, you're not like, oh, I'm so cool, I open up for Rogan and all these heavy hitters. You're sitting here saying, no, it was cool that I got to express myself to 5,000 people. Like, I love Rogan, I love my people, you know, my friends, but okay, but this, I got to express myself to 5,000 different people. You wouldn't have been able to before. Would have taken longer.
I mean, it's after the show, it's like, that's when you brag about it. But when you're doing it, you don't want to brag about it.
So when you're done, what did you do after the show?
I just hung out with the most powerful man in media and met some of his famous friends that wanted to, you know, who showed up for him, and just soaked in the energy of that moment of that show.
Is his club open yet?
Nope.
And when's it supposed to open? I thought he kept saying October, right?
He's working on it. I mean, you know, with the whole, you know, economy and inflation and all that. But yeah, he's working on it, and he doesn't do anything half-assed. Like, his studio is badass. His fucking, you know, comedy club is going to be the same way. It's going to be the best, and the things that are great take time, and you only open up once. So yeah, he's not going to do it in a bad way. You know, he's going to make sure it's right before it happens.
Do you think it'll be this year?
August.
That's what David Lucas was saying. He but you know, that was 3 months ago. That was before the economy took a real turn, you know.
It's hard to say. I try to find out, but they keep it real hush hush.
Yeah. Well, at least you're there. You know you'll be there, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
really
keep
cool.
trying to not fuck it up.
So now, I know this is old news, but just to touch on it real quick, with the Chappelle thing, you know, the asshole jumping up on there, and when we saw it, you know, the guys in those yellow shirts, they're not doing anything, and the two other security guys, they were so into the show, they didn't even see that guy on the corner. You know, there was a good like 4 or 5 seconds that he got up all the way onto the stage and got to Chappelle. I mean, that's a long time. That's 5 seconds to react. And then the Will Smith bullshit. How do you think that those two situations and whatever else affects comedians in general? Do you think it has any effect where now they're thinking twice about what to say? You know, like the heavy hitters, Chappelle, Rock, you know, everyone that everybody watches. Do you think they'll come out differently now?
I think that the rot is in our society itself, and the comedy is just like an aspect of it. So I think that we have been dealing with a society that's been sort of schizophrenic for a while, and then the physical violence is just an exclamation mark on it. But I think it comes from a really fractured society. So I think that is a bigger issue at hand. You know, the whole trans thing versus like Black Lives Matter or whatever. I think that's the bigger issue. The physical violence is like, that's a symptom of it. And I think like overall it's just like there's a real problem with society, and comedians are, you know, are a very potent like part of it, and we feel a lot of what's going on in society. But the physical violence, I think is easy to ignore at this point. You know, it's a few edge cases. I think it's the mental thing that really gets to us, and I think overall, if society was better, you know, it would make the comedy better, and it would make all art forms better. But I think that we're going through something right now, and I think that's what's affecting the art form more.
Well, I think if somebody gets fucking decked and laid the fuck out one time, that ends all that shit with them jumping up on stage. But, you know, when you let Will Smith do what he did and then give him an award, let him stay there and give him an award, that sends the message to other people that are interested in doing stupid shit. Wow, it must be okay because he didn't get kicked out and he got a fucking award at the end. And then the guy was Chappelle. We heard about that guy for 2 or 3 days. If it would have been somebody else or something else, you would have heard about that for 2 weeks, you know? So, and I think that they really should respect comedy more, because what's life without laughter? When you go and you're spending, you know, $100 to fill up your gas tank that used to be $40, you're not laughing. You know, when you go to get groceries and they don't have shit, and what they do have is 3 times what it was, you're not laughing. But I can put on Hans Kim and see this guy from South Korea come out and say some crazy shit that you never would think would come out of your mouth. But I don't think comedians are respected as they should be. They're just not. How do you feel about that?
Well, I would like to see gas go down. I would like to see grocery stores
I think everybody
be
would.
fixed. I think that's a bigger issue, and then the comedy is on top of that. But I think like the reason why I got into comedy is because this has been forecasted for a while. Like, this isn't our priority. We're not trying to take care of people. So I'd rather than participating in it, I'd rather make fun of it.
Are you into the VR stuff and the metaverse and all that?
Yeah, I have a little VR set. I did the virtual Red Band. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
I saw David's. Did you see David's?
No.
David has one. He's in the metaverse and he's walking around and doing crazy shit. You gotta see it when you get back.
Yeah, I think it's the future. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, but there's nothing like live comedy though. You know, I just hope that it doesn't turn into all this metaverse and everything's virtual, but it kind of looks like we're headed in that direction inevitably, and I don't know that there's any way to change it. Do you think in your lifetime that it will turn to straight virtual? There won't be much live things?
I think that if it does, that means it's better, and if it doesn't, that means that real life is better. I think it'll just depend on how good it gets, and may the best man win, you know, free market competition. Let's see which one is better. I think that if it's meant to be, it'll happen. But I mean, there's always the option for real life shit, so it's always going to be a competition, and let's just see which one people prefer.
Yeah, what pops in my head that probably shouldn't, but I think about, did you see the last Jackass?
Yeah.
Crazy, right? I mean, absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, like, being in like a metaverse and watching that? And they're like actually doing it somehow, but you're there. Johnny Knoxville, what really fucked him up was that bull, right? That's what, because I saw an interview. Have you seen an interview with him lately? I don't think he's fully recovered from that bull. I mean, you got to respect the guy for doing it. I mean, he's hung strong with Jackass for 20 years, because they had the 10 and then the 20.
Yeah.
They got balls, man.
Yeah. I mean, they're experts at it. It takes skill, because people stiff up at the wrong time, but they know how to fall. They know how to roll with the punches.
I think people, I know people don't realize that these are professionals. So, when you see that fat guy, fat short guy, putting gas in that little motorcycle, and then three, did you see it, Scott?
No.
Oh my God. There's one part there's a lot of parts that are crazy, but one is I forget his name, but there's a big heavy guy, and he gets on like a mini motorcycle. Remember that part?
Yeah.
And it starts with a bike, and they ramp off 3 guys and ramp onto the other ramp with another 3 guys, just a piece of plywood, 3 guys under it, another piece of plywood, 3 guys under it. And it starts with a bike.
Yeah.
And then it turns into a mini motorcycle. And the guy at the bottom, for some reason, was the one that seemed to get the most pain. But like you said, they're professionals. So although they're crazy and they're comedians in a form or whatever you want, a stuntman, they know how to move when that bike is coming, right? Otherwise, they'd be fucking paralyzed. Like if me or you tried to do it, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, they're all skateboarders. They all started from a skateboarding magazine. They know how to fall. They know how to do tricks and stuff and land, and they're all experts at that.
Scott, you know Steve-O?
I know Steve.
He was on the show, right? Yeah. Okay. In the movie, he sits there, whips out his dick, and they let out thousands of bees. And his whole entire dick and balls is covered with bees and getting stung by bees, right? Remember that part?
Uh-huh.
It's fucking crazy, man. I don't know how these guys do it. I guess just mind over matter, right?
Yeah. I mean, they survived it. They take the risks. Like, they take calculated risks.
I don't know if but that thing that Knoxville did with that bull, last time he got flipped and he kind of landed and just broke a few things. This time, he got flipped and it wasn't moving. Have you seen any interviews with him as of late? No.
Not of late, but I saw some early stuff, and he did stuff right in front of me, you know.
Like all crazy shit?
Oh, my God. He's out of his mind. I think he's pretty broken now.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw him, he was just like, I'm done, I think. You know, I think he had enough.
The last time you saw him, was it after they did this last Jackass movie?
No, it was before that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this one, believe me, he felt this one. So however he was acting before, you can multiply that by a few right hands.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And then I saw Pauly Shore was on Kill Tony. I haven't heard that name in forever. He knows him from back in the day.
Yeah, he's a Comedy Store royalty. He's part of the scene. Everyone loves him. He's like been part of that scene for a while.
Is he kind of on a comeback, or was he just hanging out?
Yeah, he's doing stand-up comedy a lot. You know, he goes up at the Comedy Store, and a lot of people, respect and work with him because. Yeah, he's a great showman, and his mom was Mitzi Shore, and he's been a part of the Comedy Store forever.
He's awesome. I can't think of one. Can you think of one not funny movie with him in it? I can't think of one. Can you?
He's the new Pinocchio.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh shit, he's playing the new Pinocchio.
Yeah, he's Pinocchio,
that should be funny.
Pinocchio. He's got a great voice for it, even though he's an older man right now. He's got a great child voice. He's like a child at heart.
I guess I can. I guess I can kind of see him playing Pinocchio. I mean, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about UFOs? Do you think they're real? Because all that sightings and shit that they're showing lately.
I think that like they could be real. I haven't really seen any evidence for it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's such a black box. It could be anything. It could be like a little plant, or it could be like, super beings that don't even have a physical body. So it's just hard to say without any evidence. So it's just like, it is whatever you want it to be. And I'd rather just like think about things that I know are actually real. But yeah, it could be real, but I just don't know where to start with it, because it's hard to know what is actually like happening and what's not.
Yeah, I think they're there, but I just think what they're showing, I think it's military, and I think it's either our military or somebody else's military, and we don't know, and they're just using UFOs to deflect. Because why now all of a sudden UFO, where before they never even talked about it? So it seems like a deflective mechanism to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you think Trump was good for comedy? I mean, he had to have gotten a fucking shit ton of jokes out of that.
Yeah, I think overall, I don't think it was that good.
This podcast is brought to you by Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, Monster Energy. It's the ideal combo of the right ingredients in the right proportion to deliver a big bad buzz that only Monster can. Monster packs a powerful punch, has a smooth, easy drinking flavor. Athletes, musicians, co-eds, road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers dig it. You will too. Monster Energy is more than just the green OG. Monster has Monster Ultra, Juice Monster, Monster Hydro, Rehab Monster, Dragon Tea, Monster Max, Muscle Monster, and many more. Buy on Amazon, buy on Walmart, or go to monsterenergy.com and believe me, you'll find a place. Unleash the beast. Monster Energy.
I think it'd be better if we had like a stable society and then we can build on top of it. But yeah, I think it made people way more sensitive, which is bad for comedy, and it made people really on edge and stuff. So I think overall, like, it would be better if we just had a stable society and people didn't go to comedy for their news.
Yeah, there's kind of a problem, right? If you're going to the news for comedy, something might not quite match up, right?
Yeah.
But then, I mean, you go to the news now and what the fuck? You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, what do you do, right?
Yeah.
So aside from, obviously, I would assume this, what has been the best day in the last 6 months? Because you've just grown like crazy. So beside the MGM, what's something, a day or an evening that just sticks out because of the rapid just growth? I mean, you were in a van.
Yeah. Probably like some of the parties that I throw at my house where it's just all positivity and people are just gathered, and this is something that I can be a lightning rod for and gather up all the people, and I could create a little social gathering full of happiness and make a better time for people. So I just think things like that, and just getting to talk to people and having a party like that, I think was really, really an awesome thing. It's like a real world benefit that I could provide for my community that I have in Austin. And yeah, it's just that I could impart positivity with no strings attached, I think was a cool thing. That's all I want to do, is like be a positive thing in the community.
And then when you do have something like that and it is positive, then the networking just naturally just clicks like crazy, right? Because everybody's getting along, they're in a good mood, and then you network, and before you know it, boom, things are happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that makes total sense, you know, with that. So when you go all around Florida, and then you have some in August, right? You have some shows in August?
Yeah.
Where you pull up tab 4, I think, is with all his links. So where do you have in August?
I don't really know.
I think it's actually I think you're back in Texas. I think you're back in Texas.
I have a dating show that I do that's pretty similar to Kill Tony.
Tell me about this dating show. I didn't see that.
I just pick 2 names out of the bucket, and then people just show up and they go on a date, and then we interview them. So
that's fucking cool. Was that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's called Other People.
Go to YouTube.
Other People Comedy.
Yeah, I didn't see it. So you have 2 people. So how does this work? So break it down for me.
So
because I can't play YouTube on YouTube.
We pick 2 names out of a bucket, man and a woman, and then the 2 people go on a date on stage for 1 minute, and then we interview them afterwards. Be like, why did you say that? What were you thinking? And what do you do for a living? And what do you like to do on dates? And then it's like a Kill Tony thing, and then there's a chance to riff and do one-liners.
That's
on top
cool.
of their answers.
I think that's gonna kill.
Yeah, I have a good time. We're doing it this Sunday.
Give me one that was real funny.
Well, we talked to a bunch of people.
Yeah, just cut that out.
We talked to this guy who was married to this woman, and he was like super autistic. He works with semiconductors, and I was like, "You're not semiconducting any sexual energy."
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's like a nerd, and the first question that he asked his date is, do you like to go down for your pleasure or for his? And she was just like, what? Why are you asking me if I like to go down on our first date? So he was just like super nerdy and did not understand how he was coming off, and was asking super sexual questions.
We'll definitely have that in the description, because that sounds fun to watch.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Now, when you're getting in this, you're blowing up. There's all these drugs, you know, everything. And then the money starts coming in. What are some things you're doing to make sure you don't fall into that pitfall where, you need not weed, like where you need drugs to get up on stage, and then before you know it, whatever money you do make, you blow. The next thing you know, you're broke.
Yeah.
So what strategy do you have for the future to make sure that that doesn't happen? Because especially in the comedy world, some of the best ever, fell to, addiction, unfortunately.
I'm pretty nerdy. I'm pretty boring. I don't really need that much excitement in my life. I like playing Catan, so that's sort of my drug. I am
What's
not
Catan?
that sort of.
Why don't I know
that
what the fuck
personality.
Catan is? What's Catan?
Settlers of Catan is a board game, and they have it online as well. But it's I'm just sort of a nerd, and I don't really need the biggest endorphin rush to be happy. I don't really trust my emotions and my feelings. I'm more in my head, so I don't really need to feel that good. And so I don't think that the allure of drugs is really my Achilles heel. I mean, I do love drugs, but it's mostly for psychedelic effects.
But you're not that type of guy that needs it, because you get your psychedelic effects just being on stage in general, right?
Mm-hmm. And the overall life, just like having a good career, it's not the same as the immediate rush of a drug, but it's more reliable and potent over the long run.
This question's from your friend Tyler. He asked me about your pronouns.
Tyler,
Tyler, Booking Tyler.
yeah.
Yeah, he said to ask you about pronouns.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what the fuck he's talking about?
Yeah.
I never know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I'm very pronoun, anti-verb. Pronouns, I guess, are, chink and gook.
Or like dago, wetback, cracker, whatever. Would that be a
Yeah.
pronoun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's part of our life now, I guess. Some people aren't a he or a she. But, yeah, I mean, I think that it's very few people in the population, and I don't think it's that we should, change our whole culture to accommodate these people that make up less than 1% of the population. And I think we should focus on other things rather than getting really good at gender. Maybe we could get good at, space rockets. I think it's just a waste of time to just get really into yourself and your genitals. I think it's just narcissism.
I agree with you. Maybe we should get into things that matter, right? Not shit that. What is the gender thing going to do other than just create conflict? It's not helping anything. We're not
Yeah.
advancing. While we're worried about gender and going green, other countries are just advancing.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary shit. And while our country is on the brink of a depression,
Mm-hmm.
every other country is like, oh, this is really good. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. And I just hope to hell when China does make their move on Taiwan, I hope we don't fucking step in. Because if we step in, we're fucked. Because everything comes from China.
Yeah. Economically, we exported all our jobs there. So we just fucked ourselves a little bit. And now we don't have the tools to make things ourselves.
Just hopefully he stays the fuck out of it and doesn't sanction them and just lets them through it. I don't think he should have stepped in with Ukraine. Me personally, that Soviet Union war has been going on forever. And
Yeah.
even just helping them a little bit, China's lining up with Russia, and Russia's lining up with Iran, because China wants to be the superpower.
Mm-hmm.
So they want that whole line, and they're probably going to fucking get it
Yeah.
eventually.
I mean, we were trying to use Russia as our little piggy bank and be like, you take out a loan so that we can restructure you. And they were like, we don't have to. We got nuclear arms. And then America was like, okay, then we're going to fuck with you. And then they turned into a cartel, like a mob-run country. But I think if we were, more interested in the well-being of all countries, that we wouldn't try to, try to make every country pay us money and pay us a little tribute. But yeah, I mean, I think we set Russia on this path, and I don't think it's healthy that they're alone in the world and they need to start conquering other countries to just have some sort of semblance of power. I think we are responsible for creating a very dog eat dog world, and I think we should like create a more a peaceful world. We should just be happy with like what we have now, because it's good what we have now. We should.
But I think we need to fix us first, like fix the United States first before we start diving into Ukraine and Russia and China and Taiwan. Look at our country. Let's get peace here. Let's get positivity here and get all the things that are wrong here together before we start worrying about other countries and spending money on other countries when we're already through the roof in spending money.
Yeah.
That's just because this is where we live. This is where we are. So this should be number one, I would think. But
Well, people in this country are always pursuing more profits. If they can make a
That's the fucking
profit in
problem.
Guatemala, they're gonna, raise their crops and grow bananas so that we can get money off of that. So I think like we have enough, and we just need to like focus on ourselves and make ourselves more resilient, get rid of our ghettos, and make sure everyone isn't struggling. I think that would be awesome. But
and to actually prove your point of the money and everything else, we have more prisons than any other country here, and they're privately owned.
Mhm.
So that means privately owned. So like the feds don't own them. You own that prison.
mm-hmm.
So the more you build, the more you make. The more that means the more that the feds make. So the more people you put in these private prisons, the more they make. So it's insanity to do that, because you got guys in there still doing 10 years for weed, and they don't let them out.
Yeah.
Why? Because private prison, and they're making money. Now, should they be still doing 10 years for weed when you or I in 9 out of 10 states can go get a medical card? Hell no.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think that's crazy?
Yeah. It's some people are in jail right now for laws that don't even exist anymore. It's like having people in jail for having interracial marriages. It's like we've progressed past that.
Oh, yeah. What happened with, I'm a big fan of his, Brendan Schwab. What happened with him? What's the whole controversy with him? Is it all over that UFC shit?
Something happened with Bobby Lee. I'm not sure.
Or yeah, Bobby Lee, some bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he put out a special, and the internet is very cruel to him. Like, they don't like him. They just see a bully they see a big guy that's handsome that they can shit on, and I think that they just would have been bullied by people that look like him, and this is their opportunity to get back at big, strong people.
It's ridiculous. He's funny as hell. He had just come out with a whiskey or some type of liquor that he was working on forever.
Yeah.
I saw him in Dana with David. He's funny as shit. And what did he say? Joke? See, why doesn't the media, who likes to do whatever dumb shit they do, why don't they take an hour special, right? Say at the 5 o'clock news or whatever prime time is, about comedy, and make it very clear. Comedy is a joke. When a comedian goes on stage, whether he says something racist, sexual, it's a fucking joke. It's a comedy show.
Yeah.
He or she is a comedian.
Mhm.
That's what they do for a living. So, like, Brendan, whatever the fuck he said, he's a comedian. I don't, when did you notice this? Because, you've been doing this for a while, and now you're hitting. When did you notice that every little thing that you say as a comedian in the comedy world is, up, shadow banned, or up, you're racist, but you're not racist. You're just a fucking comedian cracking a joke to make everybody laugh.
Yeah.
When did you really start to see that happening?
Probably like when Trump became president, it really kicked up a notch. It's always sort of been there, but now it's like people are like, oh, this is important. Like, we got to like start enforcing the rules of comedy because Trump is president now. And so that's when I saw it really ramp up. But yeah, I mean, I think it's always sort of been there. It's just, some people have more power now than they did in the past. And yeah, it's really just like people are so on edge. And I think that's why Trump was bad for comedy. It's just because he made it like now comedians have to have this undue burden on them instead of just making jokes. Now we have to like say the right things. It's like that's not what comedy's about.
I see the correlation. So you have Trump. Trump becomes president. He starts doing all these speeches, saying to us funny stuff,
Mhm.
you know, but to a normal person who wants like a formal, you know, like a professional acting president is not funny. But to me, at least, it's funny. But
Yeah.
you know, but then he goes up. So then they start the censoring stuff
Yeah.
so that they can censor him, and then that led on to comedians, podcasters, everything else is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I never thought of it that way. That's a hell of a point. And if I think about it myself, that is around the Trump era, maybe 18 is when I personally started seeing the censor things happen just in general, not, you know, podcast wise, just a lot of censoring and then bringing up things. And now it's just fucking horrible.
Yeah. I mean, if they feel like they have no power politically, they're going to take out their power in whatever way they can. They're like, oh, this guy isn't following the rules, then I don't have to follow the rules either. And then they just have a carte blanche to do whatever they want in their mind. And it just creates an unhealthy dynamic.
Well, it did, like Joe Rogan said, whenever they, you know, Twitter started to get worried because Elon's coming and he's going to get that open source and see everything they did, and they started deleting as fast as they fucking can before he got the actual hold of it. I mean, imagine those fingers. How many people do you think they had there going in that building? They probably had people in fucking overtime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week hitting delete.
Yeah.
They had, right? You know?
Yeah.
And then they start doing that, and then boom, I think Rogan went up, what do you say, like 300,000 or 3 million followers?
Yeah.
So now when you take that, there's you too, and there's a bunch of guys like Rogan. So imagine how much you guys have been held back. Like Rogan already made it. He's already up there, you know, he's there, right?
Yeah.
But guys like David Lucas, you know, that are up and coming and on the cuff of breaking through, you know, big time. You know, guys like you know, that bullshit could have held you back years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane, especially when you're using those platforms to progress your career, and your career maybe isn't progressing when it should be, and it's not because it's at the hands of somebody else.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah. And then, but it all evens out in the end because they might keep us down, but they boost up some people that they agree with that are not that funny, like Hannah Gadsby or something. And then people go to their shows and have a bad time, and then they're like, let's not go there again. And then people go to David Lucas' show, they have a great time. And then, you know, like the social media is just one aspect of marketing. The day-to-day real life shit that we do, that comedians have to do, is also a factor, and I think a bigger factor, and that is unimpacted by shadow banning. You know, we can still get word of mouth marketing going on, and the social media just adds on top of that, and it helps. But yeah, I mean, I think that overall, even if they try to boost up some person that they agree with, if they're not funny, then it's not really going to do anything. More people are going to find out that they're not funny, is all that they're doing. And yeah, that's the good thing about comedy is we have to travel, we have to tour. Like musicians, they can sit in their studio and record an album, and then the studio has it, and they can charge a percentage. But with comedy, we're traveling, we're seeing how many people show up, we know how much tickets are, we have control of the real world, you know, the real world marketing that comedians have to do. So I think that's an advantage of our art form.
But still, even with that being said, if you were never shadow banned, like you're in now, you're in with your guys. You got lucky, you got in with Kill Tony, with Red Band, you know, things kind of fell in your direction. But for somebody that it didn't, but is really good, but they just shadow banned them because they were left or because they were right or they just didn't like what they were saying, that person could be with you guys right now, but they're not because social media like basically halted their whole entire career. And maybe it was a person that would be the best comic ever, but because they shadow banned him and fucked him, he's at Target right now. You know, when you think about it like that, I mean, it's possible. It's actually it's for sure.
Well, if he was the best comedian ever, shadow banning him isn't going to stop anything.
Well, how would he grow though? How would he grow? Because
Just
then you wouldn't have
natural,
people. Yeah.
You know, just making friends and, agents and the old way of doing things. I mean, it'd be harder, and we could live in a society that actually lifts up the best and most talented people in our society. But it's never been that way. Like even before in Motown, and they were super corrupt. So this is at least a slightly better version of that, and we still have a long way to go. But I mean, hopefully, like even with Joe, I mean, they try to shadow ban him. He's still at whatever. He's one of the most followed people in the world.
That's a great point. Do you remember Motown? That they tried to hold them back like crazy too, right? Yeah. That's a great point, and that's a great point. I stand corrected, because if he was the greatest comedian, he'd find a way. He would do the legwork, right?
Right. With comedy, it's so in the moment that it's hard to deny.
But maybe in a different.
It's definitely not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely, but like they don't have as much power as they think they do. Because if they did, then everyone would be vaccinated.
Yeah, exactly. Which is just fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And I think they're absolutely insane to try to play Elon Musk. I keep saying this, like, anytime I talk to somebody that like is intelligent, can you believe that Twitter tried to play Elon Musk? Like, are you fucking crazy? Like, you tried to play a guy that can get a rocket up and down and land in the same spot. A guy who's trying to build a civilization on Mars.
Yeah.
Guy that could put a wire in your head and make you no longer paralyzed or whatever else. You're going to try to fucking play him with, 20 billion robots? You don't think he already knew that when he went in with the 46?
Yeah.
Come on. You're going to block Elon Musk from the source code? You don't think he can crack through your bullshit encryption? Like, really?
Yeah.
Do you think he'll end up with it? Or do you think he'll
I
walk
think it
away?
just fell through. I don't think he ended up buying it. I think he backed out of it. I think it's recently just happened.
Yeah, can you Google, say, did Elon Musk back out? He did back out of it? Oh, shit. I thought it was just on hold.
No, he did. He said, I don't want it anymore. Yeah, that was yesterday.
He formally backed out of it.
Yeah, but they're suing him now.
Twitter's...
And if he backs out, there's an agreement. He owes them $1 billion. So he loses $1 billion for backing out.
So what's his move here? Do you think he's going to actually back out, or is he playing them to get...
Who knows what he's up to?
He's up to something, right?
Yeah, he's up to something.
What's he up to, Hans? Think. What's he up to? What do you think
He
he's
lives
up
in
to?
Austin now. He's just biding his time, just having a good time, just trying to impact the world that he sees best. He has that opportunity. He has that ability to do that.
But what's the end result, though? He's not going to go pay them $1 billion, right?
I guess the end result, I think he just wants to create like a utopia.
I mean, he did, at the very least, he did bring to light how corrupt social media is in these platforms.
Yeah.
But I don't see him losing $1 billion. I don't think there's something we just don't know. Come on, Hans, think. What's his strategy? Come on. If you had a guess, if you had to take a wild fucking guess, what is he doing? Because if he fully backs out, he's going to lose $1 billion. I don't think he's in the business of losing $1 billion. Do you? I don't think he really gives a shit about $1 billion, but I think you'd like to put that $1 billion in SpaceX or one of the genius things he's come up with.
I mean,
so what's he doing?
He is probably just like, maybe the best way that he can go about it is just being an independent voice on Twitter, or just like, because he's one of the biggest tweeters out there. So maybe he's just like, well, maybe it's better to let them run it and just constantly point out their flaws, and
take $1 billion loss. You think he'll do that?
Well, maybe it was worth it for that publicity.
Well, I mean, if we break it down, he bought the Bitcoin, remember, and then he put it in and took it out. He put it in, I think he put in 2.2 billion and then pulled it at 4.2. So he made 2 billion there. So technically, I guess it would be a wash. Well, he would be plus $1 billion over this whole thing if he did it that way with a lot of bullshit media.
Yeah, maybe he's just making more money somewhere else, and he's like, I can't focus on this. I'm making $7 billion here.
So you don't think he'll end up with it? You think he'll just kind of maybe see what I thought, Hans? I thought because he was getting closer with Jack Dorsey, they were together. Because remember, everybody was like, fuck Jack Dorsey, he's a fucking asshole. After all this, I think it was the board. I don't think it was Jack Dorsey. I think it was the board. I think Jack Dorsey wanted it more like Elon's talking about, but the board just overpowered Dorsey, and then Dorsey ended up leaving. Then when Elon comes in to buy it, it's funny how then Elon and Dorsey started hanging out, and Dorsey made it, created it, so he knows all the back doors. Good move, Elon.
Yeah, he got access.
Yeah, and I thought for sure that the two of them would buy it, and Elon would kind of be in the background, and then Dorsey would run it. And that might still be what happens, is that he ends up getting it, and then Dorsey, runs his baby, really.
Yeah, I think that
I'd like to see that happen. That'd be like a nice ending to a shit situation.
Yeah, he's just a shadow puppet. He's like George W. Bush and Dick Cheney.
That was good. Do you think we'll end up getting it, Scott?
No.
No? Damn. I want him to get it and let Dorsey run it. Damn. Well, it was fun while it lasted, but there's still hope. There's still hope.
Yeah, he could get like Tinder or Snapchat or something.
Yeah. How do you manage your social media?
I just post anything and everything. It's like I try to make my Instagram feed the same as my camera roll, like whatever I happen to look at, because that's what people want some of the time, is like they want to see your authentic life and what you're actually going through. So I make it as reality TV as possible. Just whatever is happening, I put up there to show them what my life is like, and then I try to make my life.
And here's your Instagram. You got some cool. What is that right there? Next,
It's like fake meat.
I kept trying to see what the fuck that was. Is that for like? Like if you're going to outer space?
It's
you like that with those bags? Go down, scroll down, Scott.
It's like a fake meat.
Yeah, that one there.
People really hated it.
What it tastes like? Shit.
It tastes like Spanish. It tastes like sort of meat like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's food, and I think it's the future. I think it'll be better to not have cows that have brains and feelings, and then you make them stand in little crates, and then you put a bolt in their head. I think it's better to have grow it in a lab.
Now, is that processed as shit though? I mean, that looks like it's probably processed times a gazillion.
Well, yeah, the whole process is processed. Like there's nothing
like
real about it.
Yeah, so you're like trying to get cancer.
Is it is that like plant-based stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. It's like made out of plants, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, I think this is like the infancy. Like we have to pollute the environment so that we don't pollute the environment later. So it's like a little upfront cost to the environment. But I think overall that'd be a better way to make meat. And I think we're just clinging on to this way of making meat that we know because it's what we grew up with. But I think it's like oil. Like it's not the only way to doing things, and we should try to do other things as well.
I had this guy, actually a friend of mine, Vinny. So what he did was he opened up a snack store. And what he did was he got snacks and drinks from every other country, and he brought a bunch in. And Coca-Cola from South, and I had it. I still have a couple at home, but they expire, unlike here. A Coca-Cola in Japan, South Korea, North Korea, China, the expiration date's like 6 months. It tastes completely different than the United States. You look at United States, you got a year and a half to drink that. Same with the Doritos. Tastes completely different. And the expiration dates are night and day.
Yeah.
They're 3-6 months in other countries. Us, we're like 2 years. We got so much shit in there.
Well, people in other countries are looking out for their
health, maybe.
And here we're looking out for their bottom line.
The
profit.
The most bang for the buck.
Yeah.
The longer it lasts, the more you can sell it. Go down. This one's funny.
The McDonald's.
Scroll down a little
forever.
bit. I hit the wrong thing. That's all right. He's getting used to Max. Go in the middle one where it says Hans. In the middle.
This one?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I got this guy Noel T. Art that started making posters for me for free. He's just some kid that just is doing this for me. Super, super grateful that he's making these bomb ass posters for me.
And you have I saw you got some cool merch. Go to the very next tab right next to it, Scott. The up right next to it, Scott. You scroll down to he's got like cool ass fucking sticks. Scroll down. Right there. That's some cool ass shit. I love that, dude.
Yeah,
You
it's
gonna add
all
some more
just-
stuff to it?
Yeah, I hope so. I have like a keychain that Denise Lates made me. Yeah, and this is Rogue stickers. He makes little caricatures. And then the other stuff is just a pun on my name. I got Hans Across America, only Hans, and the Vans logo done as a Hans logo.
Click on TikTok. Did you ever think, Hans, that TikTok would blow up the way it has? Like, are you
A
shocked
little
by that?
bit. I mean, they had what's that video app? They had the something else, but there's always been some sort of video app. Like they had Snapchat.
What's a good one to play on here? Which one do you like to play?
How about performing a sting operation on the right in the middle?
Right there. Play that one, Scott.
This is Fox Theater in Detroit.
Oh my God, you guys cheered for that. I can't believe you fell for it a second time.
You said I can't believe you fell for it a second time.
Yeah. They had like a couple guys try to kidnap the governor, and it was like just a hoax. Like the FBI set them up. They're like, you hate the governor, right? Yeah. Well, here's some plans to kidnap it. You want to do it? They're like, sure. And then they're like, oh, you're arrested.
But now, do you know what happened with them? Because I thought that they were banned, and then supposedly they were bought out with an umbrella in the U.S., but now it's all China. Like, if you look at the source code, it's fucking
Oh,
China.
TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty corrupt. I mean, they don't give a fuck about
Your privacy at all.
or
No.
human rights.
Well,
or
think how
anything.
China is, if
Yeah.
you live there.
Yeah, and all of it goes to the Chinese government. So they're just learning about us. But hey, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. We have a free market economy, and whoever has the most profit wins. So they're just playing the game, and they have a certain thing in mind. Like Facebook and Google, they're compromised and sort of like by the American government, where they're like, oh, don't put this up high, don't put that up high. And then TikTok is just like, they don't give a fuck about us, and they just give us whatever we ask for, even if it's just like, cotton candy and shitty Doritos. They just feed us what we want to see instead of like fucking with the algorithm. Like TikTok is like the most meritocratic, I think, like where they just give good content a boost, and then they only care about the views, and then they learn from that, and they get all that data, and then they figure out what would get us to click more, which is like a way to figure out what we're like, and then they can figure out who we want to vote for, and it's all pretty shady. But if you use your population as like a fucking way to make profit as cattle,
Then it's great. Yeah.
then you're opening yourself up to other people using your population like that. So, I mean, it's hard to be like, China, you can't do this, but we can sell shitty Doritos to our people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I've had two post ban. One was, I guess, because I put NBA in China, because it was a time period when everybody, like all those NBA players, were like basically kissing China's ass. Like, please, I'm sorry if I said something wrong. Don't, because they're making all their money over there.
yeah.
You think that people think that, these $80 million contracts in the U.S. is big. No. The endorsements, that money that they get from over in China, it's double that, So when COVID happened and they had talk shit, a couple actors and NBA guys, they were like, China, oh, no, hey, I'm not saying it's you guys. I don't know. I'm playing neutral. And I did a podcast on that, and they took that one down. And then a friend of mine that does a true crime podcast, he does, what did his get taken down? Counterfeit money. He had a guy on that he was the best money counterfeiter ever, okay? And he got 20 years, but they reduced his sentence to 2 years if he explained to them how he did it. it was like the money was that good. He would have never got caught. He got ratted on, and TikTok took that down. I hadn't seen them do that prior, so I think that might be a little bit of a newer thing where if you're posting a video on basically, technically you're kind of showing somebody how to counterfeit money, they take it down. And of course, if you say anything bad about China, they take it down.
Yeah.
Dave told me that, I forget who he said was over in China. It might have been him. Somebody was over in China in your crew. And the one thing that they had said, the Chinese had said, do not make fun of the Chinese government. Other than that, have a good time. But do not fucking talk about the Chinese government.
Yeah.
Unless you want hung, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're pretty strict about that.
What did you think about Rodman going to North Korea? Just being Korean, you know, like what were you thinking when he was going to do that?
I thought it was great. You know, he's sort of an outside figure. He's just sort of does crazy things. And I think it's great that we're trying to bridge the gap. You know, I feel like we're all people. We live under governments that not all of us agree with all the time. So it's great that, you know, those people are, you know, cut off from the world, and they're people just like us who want to connect and want to, you know, be a part of the world. It's just their government and the situation of politics has left them where they are. But yeah, I think it's great that we connect with those people. I think that they have a lot to offer, just like any country does. And I think it's good that he went over there and tried to bridge that gap.
He went over twice. Because his agent, you know, we were talking about agents. So I love my particular agent. I just hate dealing with other people's agent. But
Yeah.
my agent, it's his agent.
Mhm.
Is Rod? I have the same agent as Rodman, and he went over there twice. He didn't just go over once. He went
Yeah.
twice, and I think it's a beautiful thing because he went over there to make peace. You know,
Yeah.
and Kim Jong-un accepted him in because he loved basketball.
Yeah.
And there's Rodman, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then that paved the way for Trump to go in and say, hey, buddy, if you calm down with the nuclear shit, you can have a country just like the U.S. and you can have big basketball teams. And that is one thing. Trump had him good, you know, and they were striving and they were working together. All that nuclear shit was done. There's no talk. And then now it's like a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Do you think a nuke goes off in your lifetime?
Yeah, I mean, it could. I don't think it's likely. I mean, we went through the Soviet Union thing in the 89 time. So, yeah, I don't think so. I think that we can figure it out. I think it's really up to us. I think we have the most power and the most ability to control that. And I don't think that we want that. So I think we just need to make that known and make our government reflect our own desires. But yeah, I think we can figure it out. I think people can figure it out. I don't think we're naturally just shitty. I think human civilization is built on cooperation. So the fact that we got this far proves that we can cooperate with each other. We just got to keep the positive parts and abandon some of the more negative parts.
I wonder if we're at that turning point, though, in evolution where we're just evolving and you just can't stop it because technology is growing so ridiculously fast, and then we're trying to keep up with it. The egos, the narcissism, the money, the power, what you can, what you can't do, what they have that we probably can't even imagine. You know, I don't know how you turn that into a peaceful civilization, although that's what we all want. I keep saying the political shit's a big fucking problem. I don't know why. It will never happen, and it's like wishful thinking. But wouldn't it be nice to not have a red and a blue and just everybody goes up and you vote who do you want in Senate, who do you want in President, who do you want in House, boom. Then there's no red, blue, there's no bickering about color, even though they would probably just segregate anyway and fucking have their own cults then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's interesting. I think like we can definitely do a lot better job cooperating and being chill. Yeah, I have faith. I mean, I'm a person. If I can do it, then other people can do it.
I think it can happen. I think if it gets bad enough, and I think it will, then people will start to listen to other things, other people like you talking, me talking, Joe talking, people that are positive and want things to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Because once it gets so fucking bad, and I do believe it will get a lot worse, then you start to look for some good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do look for the good, that could be the change. So maybe it does have to get worse for it to get more peaceful and positive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. How much of a tool for you and your growth was social media? Even with the bullshit. Like, how much of a part do you think that played?
I think it was a way to communicate with people, and I think people is what brought me to where I am. So it's just like a way of communicating with human beings, which I think is what we should be focused on. But yeah, I think that it definitely helped, the ability to talk to people without a middleman, just directly and say whatever I actually want to say. I think that was great. I don't have to go through NBC, and I can talk to my people that actually like me, and I can just be like, hey, I'm coming to this city. If you're here, come out. Then I don't need a lot of radio or I don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to do a radio show. I don't need to go on daytime TV. Like, all the people that like me and would buy tickets are probably following me, so I have that market on my social media.
Where you don't need to do the bullshit where they're just going to chop up and pick what they want, not what you went there to actually do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you hate the most about getting noticed now? Like, now that you're getting noticed, you're getting recognized, what do you dislike the most about that?
Well, it's mostly positive, so I think it's a great thing. I think it's good to be in this point overall. I would say the worst thing is probably just the constant barrage of stuff that I have to deal with, and if I, for a moment, forget to respond to a text, then people are really hurt by it. So it's like extra pressure to respond to messages. And sometimes, like, if I responded to everything, I would just be doing that all day.
That would be your entire life, is replying to text messages, right?
Yeah. So I actually want to live my life, and I want to have that balance. So I think that would be the most tough thing, because I don't really want to offend anybody. I don't want to be like, oh, you're not important to me. It's just
because they got you where you are, right?
Yeah, I just can't respond all the time in a timely manner, just because.
Do you eventually respond?
Yeah, I try to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing things like this, I'm actually living life. I'm doing shows. I'm doing more stuff. I have less time to respond to things. But back in the day, I wasn't doing much, and I had more time to respond to things. So it's just like the responsibilities and the people that that could hurt is the thing that is the toughest.
Yeah, I could see that, because you got to get hammered, and you don't have time to do that. You got to write, you got to prepare, you got to strategize, you got to do everything, and you're just growing. It's and again, and I'm glad that you said that. It's not that you're a dick and you think you're too cool to fucking answer. It's just you don't have the time. You're building your career and you want to live life.
Yeah.
Do you read the comments?
I try not to.
I always hear Joe say, "Don't ever fucking read the comments."
Yeah, it's really not worth it.
No. One last thing. What the fuck do you think happened with Saturday Night Live? That used to be so funny. Remember when everybody used to look forward to it, and it went to shit?
Yeah.
Do you think the political realm is when it turned to shit, or
it's just
or
so
what
much
the fuck
extra?
happened?
It's just Joe has a comedy podcast where it's just him and Jamie and a guest. SNL has the fucking NBC, and they have like all these sponsors, and it's just so much extra baggage. It's not efficient. It's too much that slows it down and keeps it from being a fast moving indie grunge show. Like, the more shit you have, it's like a leech sucking away at the thing. Like, the less you have, the better, and they just have so much. And it's like a sitcom. Like, sitcoms are kind of dying out now, because it's just we have a better way of communicating now. I think it's an outdated model of how to do humor. Like, you can just do a fucking TikTok on the beach. All you need is a phone, and instead you have like all these people and all these egos fighting, and it's just
But
not
it's
the best.
SNL. It's not like they can't find the best writers on the planet before it went to
It's
shit.
an inefficient model.
Yeah.
Like you have all these writers competing with each other, and it's like, just film what you want to film. Like you don't need the approval of SNL. And we have Key and Peele, we have Sorry to Bother You on Netflix, and it's just, we can do it without all the extra bloat, and SNL has the most bloat.
So do you think between, the podcasters, the TikTok, the Instagram evolving, and then, I mean, I guess you would have to say terrible management by SNL, right? So now you take terrible management and the emergence of all this social media shit, they get buried.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like whoever's at the top, like look at the ratings now and look at them 5 years ago. Like when you think fucking make a change,
Yeah.
like why wouldn't they? I don't know that
Because
world.
They're just so invested in the way of the old way of doing things. They're like, they can't disentangle themselves from that.
So it's like a scientist that knows he's wrong, but doesn't want to be the one to go against the grain. So
Yeah.
for 10 years, he'll say this medicine does work, or this happened in space, even though he knows it didn't. Now that technology has advanced and the doctor knows that does not work anymore, this works, but this has been the standard for 50 years. They don't want to be the ones to come out and be like, well, no, Einstein, you were wrong.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, something similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. So you'll lose one of the best shows ever because you got such a big ego.
Yeah.
Which goes back to what you were saying earlier. The fucking ego of people, whenever they get somewhere, they ruin themselves.
Yeah.
And that's so great that you're big on that about love and peace and positivity. And that's probably why you got so far so quick.
Well, I learned from the best, Joe really helped me out when I started comedy, just listening to his podcast and then just seeing him and how he behaves and how he acts and how he treats people has really opened my eyes that it doesn't have to be, a cutthroat kind of thing. It could be all out of love and authenticity, and you don't have to fake it to boost people up. You can authentically just boost people up because you honestly feel that way, and just channeling that, being actually inspired by people.
Yeah, I mean, I get my balls broken all the time. Look, can't even get this anymore. The plastic cell, Rogan, the clock, and all this shit. So when I watch Rogan, I watch him like if I'm about to go box, because I used to box. So I watch him like tape. Like he lets the person answer. Like how long does he wait? Does he let him finish if it's kind of like slow and boring, or does he jump in? You could tell when the guy's moving a little bit too slow. What does he do? He's the best. So what the fuck? Why would you watch not the best if you're doing that genre, right? So I don't care who breaks my fucking balls. He's the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like the way he does it. So when I watch it like I'm watching tape. Unless it's somebody really good, then fuck the whole tape thing. I watch it.
Yeah, you just enjoy it.
I love the one with the, I can't believe he got him in there, the space guy.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, the Chinese guy. I forget his name.
Was it recently?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull it because it's so good. Are you into space stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. What the fuck is his name? It's like this guy, Michio Kaku. How do you say his name?
Oh, Michio Kaku.
Yeah, what a awesome interview. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, the best. And then right after that is a guy on back-to-back 2 bombs is a guy on Conscience, like Conscience in Space. It's really interesting. I mean, really mindfuck you. Those 2 back-to-back, you're in another world. You need to go get indica. So where do you see yourself 1 year from now? Where would you like to be? What's your goal a year from now?
I'd like to headline and sell out clubs. I'd like to make funny videos, and I don't need an SNL. I can just post it on my Instagram, and if it's good, it'll get a lot of clicks. And just growing a direct to audience comedy expression of myself.
Are you interested in like TV, acting, documentaries?
I'm only interested
series?
into what I can do with it. Like I don't care about getting on TV. I'm interested in the actual production and the ability to have multi-camera setups and all that. So yeah, I'm excited to see if I can use some of the existing cameras and stuff and sound stages to make a vision happen. But yeah, I'm not excited just to have the logo next to my name. I'm excited to see what I can create with it. And if I can't create anything with it, the logo doesn't mean anything. I'd rather have no show on NBC than a shitty show on NBC.
Love it. That's awesome. You got a great attitude, man.
Thanks, man.
Really, really a fucking good attitude.
I mean, I learned from the best, you know.
Yeah. Got a killer attitude, man. Can't take nothing from you, and you worked hard to get it. Can you pull up tab 5? Go through everything. Pull up your all the shows you got up again. So if somebody forgot from the beginning, you got 8 in Florida and more to come, and all kinds of. What do you name each one different?
No, I mean,
you know, like some people they'll name it. They'll be like, okay, this is the Hans Kim going dirty or something. You know?
Yeah. No, I just sort of I'm trying to figure it out. So I'm still like headlining and doing the jokes that I know work. So I'm just trying to iron out my hour before I shoot my special in like a year or two, which is another plan I have, is to get an hour down and not only have an hour but to perfect it.
You know what I think would work awesome for you? A cartoon. Like if you had like a little Hans Kim cartoon,
that'd be awesome.
How fucking funny would that be?
Yeah. Just
really,
the voices, and you can put them in any scenario.
Yeah, like you do a cartoon with you and Ari and Red Band, throw Louis in, maybe Rogan comes in if he has time. How funny would that be? And then you got Hans Kim, the little Korean, coming. I mean, it would be it'd be so funny.
Yeah, we all look so different.
Yeah, it's like you got, you have everything in one.
Yeah.
And then you put that into a cartoon, you'd be the funniest of the cartoons.
Thank you.
And that's all it's about,
Yeah.
All right, so you're in Naples, July 12th and 13th, Tampa, July 15th and 16th, and that's with Tony Hinchcliffe. You're in Tampa, July 20th. You're in Winter Haven, the 21st, and New Smyrna Beach, the 22nd and 23rd. This will all be in the description, where it's at, all that good stuff. And that's quite of a lineup, given the last time I was talking to you, buddy.
Thank you. It worked out. I'm in Florida, and I can plug this right before I go on it. This is my first stop.
Yeah.
So it all worked out.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of the work ethic, and it's really awesome to see how far you came, man.
Thanks,
just keep it up, and I love the positivity.
Thank you.
You're very positive. You're pure. You're pure, and I really like that, man.
Thanks,
and
man.
I'm not just saying that because you're here. I'm not kissing your ass. But anything else you want to promote?
Yeah, just DJ Hans Kim, Instagram, YouTube. I post everything that I do on everything, so you just follow me on one thing.
And then go to the tab to the right, Scott, and then right there is pretty much all your stuff. Scroll down, and then scroll down. That's the one I saw. Tacoma in August 2nd.
I'm actually not doing that.
Oh, you're not doing that one?
Yeah, this is the older one. I'm actually at Linktree/DJ Hans Kim.
Okay.
I should actually take this one down. But yeah, I'm gonna do some big shows coming up that I don't know if I can say, but
don't fuck it up.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
I had somebody come in. I felt so bad because I asked him 100 times, "Do you want me to cut it?" And he had gotten a deal with Netflix, but they had mapped out the production but didn't start it. But he was so excited about it, and he kept talking. And after I had texted him, I said, "Look, I'm going to send you the file. Watch this and make sure that there's nothing in here because you talked a lot about what you were going to do in the Netflix."
Yeah.
He said, "No, it's good." I said, "Really? I think you should look at it." But then I ended up cutting it, part of it anyway. But I guess there was a part I didn't cut, and he got fucked.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of world we live in now.
I asked him, you know what I mean?
Buyer beware. I mean,
yeah. If you sit down in the chair, you have to have the sense and intelligence to know there's cameras on and people are going to watch this. And if you're under a contract or you can't talk about it, and then you watch it, I send it to you after you're off the camera twice. You might want to watch it a little bit fucking closer. And if I take the time, Hans, to send it to you twice, and 2 times you tell me it's good to go, then that's not on me. I was at least I was nice enough, Hans, to send it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? I could have just said, "Hey, I took care of your flight, your hotel. You're here. You sat down. Whatever you said goes." But I didn't. But he said, "Okay." So okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fool me once, You see, that went past 3 gates of, oversight. So
Vetting, yeah.
yeah.
Well, man, anytime you're in Florida or
Thanks, man. This
or
is
anytime
fun.
you have time, I'll fly in from Texas, man. You're
I'd
fun.
love to. Thank you,
'Cause
man.
I'd like to pick your brain. This was the comedy one, but I'd like to pick your brain about other stuff. And tell
I
Louis
love
C to
that.
give me a date. He keeps saying date.
Louis
Tell him to give me the
CK?
date. Yeah. Tell him to
Oh,
give me a
wow.
date. We've been going back and forth for a month.
You probably know him better than I don't really know.
Oh yeah. The for real last thing. Tell it because it is part of what you guys are doing. Skankfest.
Mm.
What is Skankfest for the people that don't know, and why should people go to it?
It's
Because
like
it is
a
fun as
comedy
shit.
festival.
Yeah, it's
it's the
fucking unbelievable.
ultimate comedy festival. They had everything there. If you love comedy, if you love Louis J. Gomez, if you love Big J. Okerson, they'll all be there. They'll bring some of the funniest comedians in New York and all over the country. So it's the biggest comedy. There's nothing like it. It's like Bonnaroo for comedy.
And everybody's there, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So go to there's one in August,
Yeah.
and where's it at?
It's in Vegas.
Vegas. Whoa, Skankfest in Vegas.
Yeah, it's
That
gonna
should
a
be
blast.
interesting. That in Vegas. Woo! So definitely look up that Skankfest, right?
Yeah,
All right, Hans. Thanks for finally getting in here, man. Make sure you bring your ass back.
I'd love to.
I got your number now. I'll just keep hounding you.
Nice to meet you, Tommy. This was a blast. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
You and Gomez are gonna think I'm a psychopath pretty soon. The way I've been texting Gomez, I was texting you for a month.
Yeah.
But you guys are great guys. You're a great guy. Love the pureness and the positivity, and keep pushing that, man.
Thanks for
And
having me.
Congratulations on all the success
Thank you.
and hard work, man. You're a go-getter, and that's what we need.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Tommy.
man.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, and I will see you again.
Yeah, I'll be back.